Good morning, everybody. The recording in progress, so we get confirmation this is going to be recorded. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to. I'm right now in the lands belonging to the Arapaho and Ute peoples, just outside of Boulder, in Colorado. My name is Terry Chiplin. I'm the event director for the US Trail Running Conference and this webinar series. And kind of a tear in my eye here because this is the last one in the 2022 series of webinars. And so thank you so much to everybody out there for supporting this series, and really hope you've got some value and have been happy with the content that we've created. I have my colleague Melissa Cooney from EventHub. Melissa, can you give everybody a wave? And yeah, we'll be hearing more about Melissa and EventHub a bit later. But just a big word of thanks to Melissa and EventHub for actually sponsoring this session, so helping to make that happen. So without further ado, I just wanted to say also a big thanks to our overall series sponsor, which is Marathon Printing. And Marathon Printing is a family-owned company that specializes in producing custom printed items for endurance sports. Race bibs are their most popular item, either custom printed or stock bibs. And Marathon Printing also supplies vital accessories for race directors, like pins, bags, and pennant flags, as well as postcards, business cards, brochures, bumper stickers, and labels. They've been a loyal supporter of the US Trail Running Conference since 2015 and are also an event standard partner for our friends at the American Trail Running Association. And we're very grateful to Ryan Zirk and the team at Marathon Printing for their support of this series. Yeah, I was thinking in terms of sponsor partnerships that the actual relationship. So said we've having a long-standing relationship since 2015 as an exhibitor with Marathon Printing for the US Trail Running Conference, and I really wanted to make this webinar series accessible for free to as many people basically as we could have. And so I had a conversation with Ryan and put together a package which he was happy to support, and I'm glad to hear from a conversation with him earlier this week that it's worked really well in terms of the partnership from his perspective as the sponsor in this. But yeah, big thanks to Marathon Printing. I think that's been a really good example for me of an effective sponsor partnership, and how to grow it organically, but make at the same time make everybody happy. So I'm going to I won't share the slide deck just yet. I think I'll bring that up with when we're ready for Melissa. So earlier today, I did a recording with our friend and colleague Susan Kendrick from Ultra Sign Up, and so what I'm planning to do is play you the recording that we made earlier today, and it's going to run just about 20 minutes, and so I'll bring the screen share up and play this recording for you. And yep, I'll hand over to the recording. So this is Susan Kendrick from Ultra Sign Up. Okay, good morning, Susan. So nice to see you this morning, and I hope the weather and the day has been treating you well so far.
It has, and thank you so much, Terry, for having me back. This is one of my favorite subjects, so always good to chat with you and your audience about things.
Bless you. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to record this. We'll be playing this recording during the live webinar a bit later on this morning. So thank you so much for kind of moving things around so that we could get your wisdoms and expertise and share them with our participants. So really appreciate you being here. Susan, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, and then we'll get started with your presentation.
Sure. I'm Susan Kendrick, and my current role is Director of Brand Partnerships at Ultra Sign Up. Most of you know Ultra Sign Up as the registration platform that has been for over a decade. And then last year we launched an engagement part of the company, so that now we have the weekly news going out, which a lot of you may see, and kind of a lot of other things going on in the background to support our runners between the time they register for races until they get to the start and the finish line. So trying to be, more of a hub and support the runners, all along that journey. Previously, I was with the American Birkebeiner Ski Foundation. You may have heard of the Birkie. It's the largest ski race in North America. And I was the director of sponsorship and partnerships for 10 years there. So a lot of trying things, a lot of growth, a lot of success, a lot of learning along the way. But I love creating value for people based on what you find out about them. And so excited to chat about that today.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Susan, so much. We'll get your presentation rolling here. And so I'll just share the screen, and hopefully you can see the screen okay from your end there, Susan.
Yes, I can.
Brilliant. Okay. Really like that picture of you, by the way.
Thank you.
Favorite of mine. Yeah. Okay.
So in thinking about chatting about sponsorship today and some key factors that contribute to success, creating revenue, growing revenue, I thought the best thing is to try to keep it simple. I know a lot of people that are race directors, they may not like this part of being a race director. Some of you gravitate to it, some of you don't. But if you don't, it's still a really important thing to do. And it can be very easy because it's really about developing good relationships with people. So I'm going to go over a few key things here. Interestingly, last week I thought, what's the best way to freshen things up and have something really relevant to say? So I talked to a race director that I've known for about a year, met her when I was working with the Birkie, still stay in touch with her. She is a newly minted title sponsor of a trail race. Her company is a shoe company. And then talked with someone else who had gotten in touch with me after this presentation last year, this webinar, an RD, a race director, to see if we could talk about some things. And we had a long conversation. So I brought out some of the three things that he named as being most valuable to him in that conversation and the presentation last year. I will say, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to follow up. I think my contact information is in here somewhere. So happy to chat with you at any time about sponsorship, what goes into it, ideas, things like that. So the first of the 4 points is it's not a donation. And this is just simply a mindset. A lot of times people will assume that, someone's giving them, hopefully, cash funds to support their event, but it's a marketing spend for the person that you are talking to. So when you're approaching a company, you're going to be looking to the marketing person, the branding person, someone who's in charge of partnerships. You want this to be not a donation. You want it to be an equitable marketing exchange of value on both sides. That way you're creating a true partnership with somebody. And then your job is to, within your race, see what is important to that company, research them ahead of time, get curious, ask them questions, and then what about your race can be a match for that? So you want to be an amazing vehicle. They're going to spend some marketing dollars. They can either spend it someplace else or they can spend it with you. So really get into that process of how to create value for somebody. So it is an equitable marketing exchange and not a donation. One note about donations too, if something is viewed as a donation, either from your side or from the company's side, you tend to lose some control in that situation. And this can result in getting those, a box full of buffs with the company's name on it that does something for them, but doesn't really do anything for you. So it's not a donation, it's a marketing exchange, and you have a lot of value to offer. A quote that I heard one time that I just love is that there's never a lack of value, or there's never a lack of money, there's just a lack of value. So people are willing to spend on things that can support them. So get curious, learn about the people you are approaching, and create that value for them. Terry, you can go to the next slide. The next one is think like a sponsor. And this is one of those kind of easy things, mindsets too, that most of you have come across. It's not what you have to offer the sponsor per se, it's what's in it for them. So in addition to being very clear about, the size of your race, the demographics of your race, the benefits of where it's held, all kinds of things, really think like a sponsor. And what are they going to get out of this event? Again, brainstorm with them, collaborate. You can have certain, say, assets from your end that are predetermined, but you can also get creative and collaborate with somebody, especially if that would help move the relationship from, they're just getting their feet wet, to wanting to move on and do more with you. So as much as possible, kind of think like a sponsor, find out what they're working on, check out their social media, check out their website, check out product reviews, learn as much as you can, and then get into their head and see what about your race could really help them. You can go to the next slide, Terry. The next one, professionalism can be easy. This, again, these are these 4 points that this newly minted title sponsor went over with me last week. It's funny sometimes the things that we think should be, that sponsorship is maybe hard. Sometimes it comes down to the most basic professional courtesies, like stay in touch with them in a very timely way, be super responsive, communicate clearly, present an organized vision of your race, be ready to talk about and support those details about your race, like how big it is, how many participants are there on site, how many people are on your list, how many times will they appear in, say, a newsletter that you send out, or even other outreach to your runners. Is there a year-round connection that you can provide them? Do you stay in touch, or could you stay in touch with your runners year-round? And can you include your sponsor or sponsors in that? Another part of professionalism is pricing. This company I talked to said they got lots of pitches from different race directors, and some of them just really hit a good spot. Some were really inflated, and it felt like someone didn't understand really the value or how to create equitable value for somebody, that the price was just really inflated, but there really wasn't a lot going on at that race to justify that. They just kind of threw out the number, but didn't work hard to build in that value. So with pricing too, try to be really cognizant of what's going on in the rest of the racing community, and be within that market range when you're reaching out about pricing. And you can also be very upfront with people. You can save a lot of time for both of you to ask things like, do you have a budget for sponsoring races? What is that budget? You can develop a lot of high-end ideas for somebody, and then find out after you've done all this work, we only have XYZ amount of money to spend. And it's like, okay, well, this isn't a match. Find out some of that stuff early, and the person that you're talking to will appreciate the professionalism of you being really straightforward and asking those questions. Another bit of the professionalism part, this comes to being on site. Again, really simple things that would seem to be completely self-evident, but let a sponsor know, what time to get there, what time to set up. Make sure they have plenty of time to set up. So if they're doing a shoe demo, they're not rushed and setting up 150 pairs of shoes that they can easily give out before a race, during bib pickup, over the weekend or over the race day. Another point in professionalism that this company brought up was also seek out what the shared values you may have with the sponsor. So maybe sustainability if it's a company that's really trying to be carbon neutral and do some other good things within their company and in the industry, find out and try to support those as well as you can. A number of ways you can do that, either on site if you're doing the same thing, or just help them get the message out that that's the kind of company they are. One other thing, and I just love this, kind of going the extra mile, she said, do charming things with no strings attached. And I just love that. And it was this other way of kind of thinking like your sponsor by thinking about your sponsor. If there are local running groups and you're approaching somebody that's a sponsor, a brand that supports running groups, maybe find ways to give a couple of comp entries or give a discount to runners in that group, but try to knit things together as much as possible and do things that are just helpful, because what that does, it sends a signal to the sponsor what it's going to be like to work with you, because ideally you're entering into a longer term relationship with them and they start getting a taste of, I really like working with this person, this is amazing, but I'd like that, do charming things with no strings attached. Let's see, one of the things that was mentioned too is, if you can help the brand, if they don't already have a relationship with a retailer in town, help set that up for them. And I've had this experience too, that you can do this even if a brand does not have an existing relationship with a retailer. A lot of times you can be the conduit for that happening, and everybody is thrilled. The retailer is thrilled, the brand is thrilled, and your retailers in your area are such wonderful partners. And it's really great to lift the whole industry as a race director if you can start again to knit things together like that and provide value, not just for the sponsor, not just for yourself, but for other partners in your community. Terry, you can go ahead with the last slide. And this is small is okay. And I like to say that because I'm well aware that even my personal experience in working with the Berkey, it's a large event with some other larger events inside of it all year. The majority of races, though, tend to be some really beautifully curated running experiences that maybe are put on by one race director, maybe some key volunteers, maybe one or two other staff people. Even if you have a small race, a few hundred people, you can still provide a lot of value. You can just be this amazing niche partner for a company. You might not be charging as much as a larger race because you don't have quite the same volume of value, but you can do some really instrumental things with and for sponsors. So small is okay. You can create a lot of value that way. The wrap up I have for these first 4 points that are from a sponsor is to then go back and look at the feedback that I got from a race director who was on this webinar last year. And I asked him what was most valuable to him, kind of about the presentation, but mostly we had a conversation afterwards, which again, I'm happy to do if it helps to go into detail on some things. He said the things he remembered resonating were that each partner relationship can be unique. You don't have to fit each partner perfectly into a fully baked sponsorship package. He loved the idea of asset inventory, and this is how I talk about things a lot, that the things that you have to offer at your race, those are assets. It could be on site, it could be online, but they're all different ways that you can provide value to sponsors. And so what resonated with him was that there are all kinds of things, you can help your sponsor do to move the needle on what they're trying to do, simply by looking really carefully across your race and seeing what assets you have. Also, if there's something that you think would be important to a sponsor, if you're talking to somebody and it comes up as a point of conversation, you can create that asset. You can brainstorm, collaborate, you come up with something new that you might not have thought of, but that's the point of asking good questions of a potential sponsor. What's important to you? Look around your race and see if you can help support that. The third thing from this race director was real world examples. And I put a note here that there are so many there are dozens and dozens of activation ideas. Again, things, assets at your race that you can use to support not just one, but a variety of sponsors. So brainstorming on those he found to be really key. One of the things I want to say about that too is that a lot of times we think of sponsors being interested in the runners that are coming to our race. Also realize there are a lot of non-endemic sponsors out there. They might not be specifically part of trail running, but they might be interested in connecting with your spectators and your volunteers. So you can look beyond the typical trail running sponsors, and that way too you can also look locally in your own community, and work with companies that have outlets in your community, even car dealerships and things like this. So a couple of activation ideas, just, being on site at the race at an expo. Maybe there's also some sort of activation at bid pickup, or bid pickup happens at that retailer, and then the retailer and the brand can do some really cool things while people are coming in for bid pickup. Links and or a landing page on your race website, newsletter visibility, or however you reach out to your runners and making your sponsors part of that. Complimentary race entries, help build their list with opt-ins. If you can do, enter for a chance to win XYZ from a sponsor, and then you have an opt-in, or it can happen on the sponsor's website, that's a way for them to be able to legitimately connect with your runners. And a lot of people feel like, well, if they can connect with my runners, what do they need me for? But these sorts of things will strengthen a relationship. And your willingness to partner and do good things together, it'll maintain this back and forth value. Again, back to that purely, marketing transaction between the two of you, where there's value on both sides, and you can set that up and you can grow from there. So that is pretty much the perspective from the sponsor side, some 4 key points, 3 points from the RD side, and then again, that idea that what you are and who you are is fine. You can make the most of that just by being creative and responsive and being completely in touch with the people that you're interested in working with.
Excellent. Susan, thank you so much. That's very great information there, and I love the changes that you made since the presentation of the webinar last year, and it was very timely that you had those discussions last week with your colleagues. So thank you so much for putting that together. And you mentioned, Susan, and thank you for reminding me about this, that we won't have people in the live webinar, won't have the chance to ask you questions there. But if somebody does want to reach out to you, then you're okay if I share your email address at Ultra Sign Up, and then if somebody does have like a specific thing they'd like to reach out with you, then I can share that information with them during the webinar, but also on the follow-up with the slide deck and the recording as well. So if that's okay, I'll do that with your blessing.
Yeah, that's great. It's helpful for people to have someone to talk to, and it's kind of an odd topic. Sometimes there's not somebody you can talk to. So I'm happy to jump in. I really like these conversations.
Good. And as you said, it's I think sponsorship, sometimes we can think of it as like there's a specific format, fitting kind of pricing and partnerships into specific packages and all these kind of things. And the reality is that that every race is unique. Pretty much every sponsor is unique as well in terms of what they're looking for. And so it's a question of then using the techniques that you mentioned to really kind of form a relationship that works well for both parties, but that also has the opportunity to grow and develop organically as well. So thank you. Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Susan, bless you. Appreciate your time. I'm going to stop the recording now. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your attention there. Melissa, appreciate you staying on board with us until that recording is finished. Just a quick note to let people know, for some reason, I've been looking at why this is happening, but the chat doesn't appear to be functioning. However, it does appear that the Q&A is functioning. So if you have any comments or any questions, then please feel free to use the Q&A. I will share Susan's email at Ultra Sign Up as well with when I send out the recording tomorrow from the session. But if you have any questions as we're going through the presentation with Melissa, then feel free to use the Q&A function, and that does appear to be functioning. So that's good news. Okay, so Melissa, I'm going to bring up the your presentation now, and actually going to play it from the start, but there we go. Okay, so that should be, hopefully you can see that okay, Melissa?
No, I see Susan Kendrick's information up.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let me stop the share there. And okay.
While Terry gets this going, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Melissa Cooney. I'm the VP of Biz Development for EventHub. EventHub's been around for 8 years. We work with races and sports, festivals and fairs, really about thousands of events across the country and Canada. Myself, I've been in sponsorship sales for about 18 years and joined over a year ago now, and really excited to get into this for you guys. Not ssure how many of you have come across us yet. If you ever were wanting to vend at any major marathon, you probably have maybe became a vendor with that, but I want to flip this now to you guys as trail running events, really talking about, I mean, Susan did a fantastic job. She had a really great presentation. Ours is a little bit different, but more so how to scale the sponsorship side of things, because a lot of what she said is absolutely true. I think when I was listening to it, I'm going, yeah, but we're so busy. We have so much going on. And that's really what EventHub does, is shorten the time span in between reaching out to getting sponsorships and then them getting back to you and actually activating all of that stuff. So go ahead, Terry, to the next page, and we'll dive into it.
Yeah.
What EventHub?
Melissa, so you can see the screen now.
I can, yes, thank you.
Brilliant. Okay. I have a quick question. So Kathy Weber out there, she says, do you have any pointers about how to develop and present your unique value to sponsors, especially if you're a new or newer to race directing? I'm sure that's something you'll probably cover, but just wanted to give you a heads up on the question.
Was that, say that question? Will I see all these questions later? Can I respond to her directly?
Yeah. You'll be able to see these later. So yeah, do you have any pointers about how to develop and present your unique value to sponsors?
I have lots of thoughts on that. I guess maybe Kathy, as I go through this, you can understand where EventHub allows you to do that, and then I can also respond to you offline in some more depth.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So EventHub essentially is an Airbnb. So think Airbnb. We're an Airbnb style marketplace for brands and events to come together. My background, like I said, is sponsorship sales. For the last 7 years, I was working as a consultant helping brands find events. There's a lot of there's a lot of time in between finding those events. So we really shorten that process up. We currently have 44,000 sponsors who are on our platform and sponsoring multiple events. We also, in addition to being an Airbnb style marketplace, we're a SaaS platform where we streamline all of the paperwork, applications, messaging, and interactive booth maps. I'll get into all of that as we go through the deck. Next page, please. So our background. So we're a software for event and race organizers to increase partnership revenue, as well as reduce time managing sponsors and vendors. If you've dealt with sponsors before, you know how much work a $100 sponsor is versus a 10,000 sponsor. It's really the same thing. So how do you reduce that time of back and forth? Like I said, we're used by hundreds of marathons, close to thousands, race festivals throughout US and Canada. There's my link there, but we'll send it again for you to book a one-on-one demo with me. Go to the next page, please. So this is really about scaling. So again, we're all short of time. You guys have races to put on, you have permits to pull, you have registrants. There's a lot that you have to do. So how do we help you scale your partnership opportunities? I'll get into all of that. Go ahead to the next page, please. So what is scaling exactly? Next page, please. So what are the building blocks to scale partnerships? How do you automate more? How do you streamline your systems? How do you optimize your communication? How do you map out the sponsor, vendor, participant, sales management? Michael is the CEO. He was going to be on this, but he's actually presenting right now at a conference. Him and Jamie founded this 8 years ago. They were mobile marketing tour. They ran a bunch of mobile marketing tours, and they just realized how impossible it was, all the paperwork that's back and forth. So this is really created by brands that wanted to spend money. So everything that we do is really for brands to make it super easy for them to spend money with you. So let's figure out how we do that. Next page, please. So the foundation of all this. Next page. So what are the systems that people are using all in any business right now, really, to scale? There's various internal and external communication capabilities. You want to reduce the manual log. So we're all scratching down on notepads, trying to do Excel, where there's a lot of different ways, but how do you eliminate all of that and have multi-users get into the same thing? Well, we'll tell you how EventHub does that. Next page, please. Go ahead. So again, it's just optimizing team communication. What's urgent versus what's can be hold on. Not everything's a fire. How do you slow down the process? Make sure that we easily communicate across all boards. Make sure that all of your sponsors get all the accurate information at the right time, at the right place. Again, we'll go into EventHub, how we all do that. Next page, please. Next page, please. So in the back end, like we said, we have a dashboard, and we are completely owning the workflow. So between B2B and the workflow, there's the initial interest. So we allow you to have your own showcase page. On this showcase page is where the sponsors can go on to show initial interest. They submit a form to you. From there, they have payment terms. You can set up payment terms. They can pre-authorize their credit card to pay you. They can also do all the paperwork. So what state you're in, what city you're in, what venue, what trail, whatever paperwork you may have, you can upload you're going to upload all that information right into our system. You're going to have the sponsor fill all that information out, and then you guys get to approve all that on the back end. Super easy, literally eliminating hours and hours of back and forth. It collects all the assets. Susan talked about activation and making sure that the sponsor gets all the correct information. Well, we allowed that to happen as well. All the questions they would have about how long do I have to be there? Where do I set up? All of that is done automatically directly through our system. Any add-ons, really anything you would have ever thought that you needed, that you didn't even know you needed, we have all of that set up in our system. Do they need power, water, ice, etc.? Again, all of that is already pre-authored. It's already in our system. You just have to say what you have and don't have. So it already prompts you to do these things. Again, load in and on-site contact information as well, which again, people can get to you don't want to have any mishaps when they get to your event, especially in a trail out in the middle of nowhere. You want to be able to give them all the information that they need to know beforehand. Next page, please. So now let's talk about the fun thing about maximizing sponsorship opportunities and partnership opportunities. So this marketplace of 44,000, we allow you to have a showcase page on our platform that's going to grow demand for inbound interest. We're going to help you set up your page to optimize pricing to the market and perk packages to the buyer. So really easy tabling and activation setups, all the way to full-blown sponsorship opportunities. Do you want an official hydration? Are you looking for an official shoe? Let's list out all of the opportunities that you have for them so that they can see everything that you have available. If you have a map, if there's a need for a map, again, with trails, you may have a certain area or a parking lot or trail, what have you, but we have ways for you to upload your map, let people know where to go, and then where they can set up. And then again, we're able to renew partnerships very easily, because once you're on a license and your event ends, you could say to everybody, thank you so much for joining us, save 10%, 20% by joining now. Everything's on our dashboard. It's all automatic. Nothing's done through Excel. It's all done automatically. Go to the next page, please. So increase inbound demand, again, all part of the same page. So you can see Amy Rosecki here with the Vermont 100. That's her showcase page. We want you to be discoverable online. We spend money. We have earned media and partners to amplify all of this for you. We appeal to their head. So what you're seeing below all that is we have an opportunity for you to put all the different stats in there. So who are they? How much do they? What's their household income? What's their gender? Where are they coming from? A lot of T-Mobiles, for example, want super hyper local. You want to be able to appeal to each of the sponsors. Show some really great images. Again, this is going to be a way for you to say, look at us, look how exciting we are, look at how great your brand will do when they're at these events. And it's super easy to digest, and it's all mobile friendly, so they can see this from their phone as well. Next page, please. And then we get into, we help you with the pricing. So there's 3 different buckets essentially that we have. We have opportunity to register now. So if you want to have food trucks or food vendors, if you wanted to have activation tables for sampling from Kind Bar or a coconut water, or if you want to have full-blown sponsorships, we help you create all these various packages that are going to make them super, super easy for them to choose an option. What are the primary goals? On-site sales, awareness, lead gen. This is going to show initial interest. As a salesperson, as someone who's handling this, it's your job then to say, get them in. If you have multiple events, thank them for coming there. What else are they looking for? Because now this is going to be an inbound lead generator for you. So you're able to take them if they have a good time at your event. What other events do you have that they can come and do maybe a little bit more? But make it really, really easy for them to work with you, so that we eliminate all that back and forth. And then mapping. So like I said, we work with many, very large festivals and fairs, New York Marathon, Chicago Marathon, major marathons. They use us for the whole entire expo layout. Other races and other events use us for small scale as well. So up to you if you want it to be completely interactive, or you just want them to list your map. You can show people where the traffic is flowing, where people park, where they're going to be. And if you had an expo or a packet pickup or a post-race party, show them all of that and where they're going to be set up. And then if you had premium spots, what have you, that's where you would show them. And that can all be linked right directly to your page. Next page, please. And then lastly, the renewal. So again, these people have all registered. You have all of their information directly into this platform. As soon as the event ends, you say thank you, and then you can renew them, and then they're booking directly on your platform again. So you're not forgetting about them. You're not letting time go by, letting them find something else. If they had a great time with you, right immediately, you can get them to go ahead and renew for the following year. Lots of other really awesome opportunities within the platform we can go into. So I'd love to set up a demo with you guys to kind of go into each of your own individual races, but there's ways to set up inventory to say, this is sold out. So if it was someone like an official hydration, you could put sold out, you could put the inventory as 0 so that people know that, okay, the inventory for hydration is sold out, I better get on to something else. So there's all these various sales tactics that we have in the back end that help you guys create more urgency, more FOMO, and get them to at least share initial interest with you guys to be a further sponsor. Go to the next page. So the key takeaways from here, determine your systems, processes, and communication. Again, all very busy. We have a lot that we have to do, especially race directors. Again, there's so much besides sponsorship that you're trying to manage on a day-to-day basis. How do we make this as simple as possible? What's the map and the workflow that you have going on? How do you take inbound leads? Who's following up with them? How are you getting back to them? How are they paying? There's a lot of time and effort into getting each one of these sponsors, whether they're 100 or 10,000. So how do we map out that workflow? That's where we can help you with that. Show you all the different partnership opportunities. You're feel free to, jump around EventHub and look at people like yourselves to see what the opportunities that they have, but we're definitely going to handhold and make sure that you guys are all set up with the different prices that we feel deem appropriate for you. You're going to be able to provide all your attendee demographics, back it up with some imagery, show them not only the stats, but also, how exciting is it going to be at these events and how beautiful are your trails. And then go for the early renewal. Again, it's we're all very busy, so aren't your sponsors. Let's get them locked and loaded for the following year by showing them some discounts, thanking them, and then having them sign up for the following year. So I went pretty quickly. I would love to schedule a time with anybody, answer any Q&As if you guys had it. We didn't really even walk through the whole EventHub page. This is merely a high level overview of what we do. But if you guys want to schedule a time with me, we can walk through each page and learn more about your races, what the pricing is, how it's all set up, and go over each of those individually. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen.
Wonderful, Melissa. Thank you so much. That was pretty quick running through that.
Well, the thing is, I know this, I do this, probably multiple calls a day where I'm running people through this. So if I did go fast, and you guys, again, please, if I put my link in here right now, will they be able to get it?
If you know what, not, I think put it on the chat, but I'll put your link in. So just to let everybody know, I send out a recording tomorrow, and so I can put your link in terms of contact to be able to contact you in that email that has the recording link as well. So you don't need to add that here. Yeah, for some. Actually, yeah. Okay, I can see. Yeah. You weren't able to get out for a run either, Melissa. I'm sorry to hear that.
Not today. Last night, and I got my 20 miler tomorrow.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay. So, yeah, I think, so you got your link on there. So, Kathy, please say to Melissa, thank you. She'll be in touch with you. So I think you definitely sparked some interest there. Yeah, feel free to ask any more questions. We also had a comment here from Darren Lancaster from Go Sleeves, who actually they were new exhibitor for the trail running conference last year. And he said, thanks for a great webinar. I have to run to another meeting, but look forward to the recording. As you know, Go Sleeves is actively looking to connect with the running community, and we have seen amazing results with trail running events and becoming part of their extended community. So Melissa, I think I need to connect Go Sleeves with you if you're not connected already.
I'm not. No, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think that would definitely make a good connection there. The other thing I was thinking about the multi-year. So you kind of touched on it towards the end there, what I was thinking was about multi-year deals. And do you see that there's kind of been a change in the marketplace in recent years regarding multi-year deals, and are we seeing more of those kind of deals in the business these days? Just wonder if you comment on that.
Yeah, no. I talked to all sorts of sponsors. I would say, just coming off of COVID, people are probably a little bit hesitant, knowing that, if they did have a multi-year deal and then everything kind of went upside down for a few years, what I'm seeing is that there's not a lot of multi-years. On the flip side, I have talked to a few people that are going, well, you know what, now we're ready to dive in and we want this to be a 3-year deal so that we can actually take our time and explore and make sure that this works. But I would say the majority of people are not doing multi-year deals right now. What I'm seeing on the EventHub platform, we got lots of transactions happening. We're seeing a lot of the field marketing teams coming back. So Michael, the CEO, is talking to the directors of multiple major activation agencies and educating his entire new team, who are all new hires for field marketing, and educating them on the ease of use for EventHub, because this was essentially created for them to book events up easily. So as you're listed there, they're able to find you, but we really have done so much work to make sure that all their information is, it's super turnkey and frictionless as possible for them to sponsor and get involved at more and more events. So once they're on here, we send out multiple emails a month, letting them know new exciting events that are happening. We do it by region. So once they see something else that they like, once they go to book, all their information is there for them. They don't have to renew everything and go through from start over. And we make it really easy for them, all the check marks of everything that they have to do. So again, this is built for brands to spend money. We want you to be the recipient of it.
That's a great way of looking at it. Thank you, Melissa. I also wonder if there's a, for maybe race directors, smaller races, then, I wonder if there's a kind of fear about reaching out to a larger corporate sponsor as a small race. But then, have you got any feedback maybe for somebody who's listening in who's in that kind of category, and in terms of how they can be potentially successful in reaching out to a larger corporate sponsor?
Yeah, just think about it from the person's profile of who you're trying to reach. So if you're trying to reach a major brand, let's just say Goo or Strava or Hydra Pack or any, Camelback, any major brand, any apparel brand, any shoe brand, they're getting reached out to every single day by every single event. So how do you stand out? What did you have any cause marketing for them? As Susan had mentioned, do some research, find out if they have a cause marketing, find out if there's what the CEO likes to do. Where is he from? Is there a charity that he's involved in? Find some way to be relevant to them versus just sending the basic, flat sponsorship deck. That's to a major brand. EventHub is really going to be able to help you in the smaller scale vendor sponsorship opportunities. So what EventHub does different than that deck, again, the deck, sometimes you're thinking about your deck. Have you looked at your deck? Does your deck actually explain how brands can interact with you, or is your deck more about yourself? So how do we change it from about yourself and showing a Camelback what they can get involved in? Like, here's what that a sponsorship would mean to you. So if you can resonate with them a little bit more, you have a better chance. Again, with EventHub, we give you a sales sheet. We help you create your own, and you have something that answers really simple, easy questions, but not necessarily for the major top tier, C-level brand, but you can send it out to legit brands, and you have an easy way for them to look at what you guys have for like the field marketing teams. Because as you know, each brand is going to have multiple layers of different people involved with, brand sponsorships versus cause marketing sponsorships versus field marketing. And there's lots of different people to reach out to. So I would say try the multi-pronged approach.
Cool. Excellent. Okay, we haven't got any more questions there. I thought it might be worth saying also, Melissa, that we so obviously connected with you fairly recently, and so we actually set up the US Trail Running Conference on your platform as well. Yep. And so we're still kind of in the formative phase in terms of our relationship, but I'm excited, especially at the possibilities of benefiting from your platform as I'm looking towards 2023, towards next year. Yep. And so yeah, I'd be really interested in potentially sharing more about how this relationship has helped me in terms of the conference. I know it's a different kind of event from a race or a race series, but so it's really great to see Amy Ruziecki and the Vermont 100 is on your roster as well. So that's and she's got a great race series. She's also been really active in terms of connecting with adaptive athletes, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, with blind athletes and these kind of things. And so I think that's one place where the demographics, that having that information actually on the platform, on the page specifically for your event on the platform, can really help. Especially maybe sponsors who are looking, and of course, as events, we don't know what sponsors are potentially looking for in terms of target demographics. So that kind of information, I think, can really help.
Yeah, I think what EventHub is really to partner you up and save the back and forth time. And I can't like urge you strongly enough. There's just the sponsors, just like you, have way too much to do. I talked to someone yesterday. They were saying, I inquired, I didn't hear back, I got busy. So if they have to reach out and inquire to somebody, no one gets back to them, they get busy, there's a whole sale being lost right there. So if they had EventHub and they can go on there and they can easily book, then you're not waiting for someone to get back to you, getting caught up with something else. She ended up having someone pass away, so she was out of the office. That whole thing kind of fell apart. So you can hear those stories over and over and over. Being able to go onto EventHub, going, okay, I want that space, that's really easy. Booking everything right there, you're assured you're a much more catch-all than having to info at, wait for phone calls, because we are just so busy. So it really is to allow yourself to be shown to sponsors, have them find your event, easily book with you, help they have a good time, because that's what you're going to show them, and then show them other events that you have or renew them easily. Still go after your large scale sponsorships. We're not saying we're going to come in and bring your $100,000 sponsorships to you. We want to bring in the low level sponsors to you. We have 44,000 sponsors on here right now. We have every major marathon on here. All of those vendors that have booked through all those major marathons are all of the sponsors who are on our platform.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Melissa, I just noticed that your Calendly link, you put it on the chat kindly, but only to host and panelists. So I don't know if you can change that and send it to everyone instead.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why the chat wasn't working in the way that it should do, but
that's probably my fault. Oh, so it says host and panelists, and that says Terry, so it's actually not allowing me to
send to everyone. Okay, maybe that's part of the issue that we have. I mean, I can see send to everyone, but
I just sent you another one. It's a new one. Would you mind cutting and pasting that last one I sent you, and then sending that to everybody?
Yeah. Okay. All right, I can do that.
And again, this is a very high level approach to this. Once we have a demo and I walk you guys through it, you'll understand how to walk through the showcase page, what that looks like for you, how to set the backup page. So it's much more in depth. This is really just to kind of get into all that EventHub does, but let's walk through it and how it can work for you.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Melissa. Appreciate you coming on board and sharing your expertise and wisdom. And yeah, it's great to have you share your wisdoms on here. So thank you so much.
I appreciate your time, Terry.
Appreciate your time. And for everybody out there, then thank you so much for participating. And yeah, as I said, this is the last webinar in our series this year. I will be sending out next month a survey, and we'd be honored if you could respond to that survey and let us know what subjects you'd like us to be covering for our webinar series for next year, because I do plan to return the series and also keep it free and accessible to everyone as well. So